come on, it's time for your first monster battle.
I'm coming. This is Monster Civilization. Everyone here has their own pet monster. Hopefully, I'll get a better monster than a frog.
All right, head on in. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Today's my first day in Monster Civilization. I'm not sure what really goes on in a monster battle, but I guess I'm about to find out.
Welcome to your first monster battle. Please pick your starter monster.
They gave me 3 options. One was a pig with some kind of laser on its back, a sheep with what looked like a jetpack, and a chicken with a literal gun on its head. These didn't really seem like the monsters I was expecting, but I'd have to make it work. I mean, the coolest thing here is obviously this pig. It's probably the strongest too. Right next to me, the pig appeared. I guess you're my pet monster now. The intercom buzzed, and then I saw my opponent enter the arena across from me. And with him was a cow with what looked like a flamethrower on his back.
Please prepare for the monster battle to start. Both of you are going to be transported into your monster's body shortly.
Wait, what? Before I could process what the intercom said, I started to get dizzy, and before I knew it, I was transported into my pig's body, and across from me, the same thing happened to my opponent.
The fight will begin in 3, 2, 1. Fight.
The battle started, and immediately I realized I was in trouble. I've never fought anyone before. Definitely not as a pig. I ran straight at him, hoping I'd get a couple good hits in, but before I could even get close, he attacked me with his flamethrower. That thing was deadly. There's no way I was getting close enough to hurt him. I decided to back off a bit. His strongest attack was the flamethrower, and in order for that to do good damage, he'd need to be in close proximity of me. If only there was a way I could get some good damage in while also keeping my distance. Just then, I remembered something perfect. The laser on my back. If I was able to shoot this laser at him from a distance, I'd be able to take him out and win my first monster battle. I powered up my laser and got ready to shoot, and then I missed. The laser was now on cooldown, and I was a sitting duck. I'm done for. Just then, the cow ran up to me, sprayed me with his flamethrower, and I died. Wait, what the?
Dude, you actually thought you were gonna die. That was just your pig, dude.
Great. My first fight here, and I already let my monster die.
What are you talking about, dude? Your pig's not dead. Here, he's in here. Monsters don't die after a fight. They just get hurt.
Oh, thank God.
All right, now, you lost. Get out of here.
That's pretty much Monster Civilization. Everyone here has their own pet monster that they've trained to help them in battles. Since I just got here, I only have a starter monster, if you even consider a pig a monster. The only way to get a new, stronger monster is by beating someone else in a wager match. A monster battle between 2 members of Monster Civilization. And the winner takes the other person's monster from them. Or you could find one in the wild, but that's pretty rare. I live in what's called the F-tier village. A village full of people with crappy monsters just like me. But there are 7 different villages, each one having stronger and cooler monsters. And I have a dream. One day, I want to live in the S-tier village, the strongest of them all. The monsters in the S-tier village are rumored to be the strongest monsters in existence. No one really knows what they look like, but there are some crazy rumors. I made my way back to the town center where everyone was out walking their pets, and that's when I saw Jubo. He lives in the E-tier village, 1 tier above me.
Hey bud, I heard you're new here.
Yeah, still settling in.
Well, let me give you a piece of advice. You're supposed to win the monster battles. Seriously, man, how do you lose your first battle?
I don't know, man. This is all new to me.
If you think you're gonna make it all the way to S tier with that pig, you're seriously delusional.
Maybe I am, but I'm not staying down here forever. I'm gonna work my way up, 1 village at a time.
Oh yeah? You wanna rank up? Wager me. If you beat me, you get my monster and my spot in the E-tier village.
It was risky. If I lost, I'd be humiliated in front of everyone and stuck in F-tier. But if I won, it'd put me 1 step closer to my dream of getting an S-tier monster. You know what? Sure, I'll wager you.
Yeah, right. Come back when you're serious.
He wasn't taking me seriously, but I meant it. I was gonna train and become strong enough to actually win in a wager against Jubo. I made my way to what I believe was the training arena. Hey, this is where I train, right?
Yeah, this is it.
Okay, awesome. I'm trying to train so I can beat someone from the E-tier village.
Hold on. What village are you from, kid?
I'm from the F-tier village.
Are you serious? Dude, you're not beating an E-tier. You guys are practically destined for failure.
What? No, I'm sure I can beat him.
Yeah, right. Just wait your turn and then we'll see what you've got.
Inside the arena, I saw 2 players fighting. One of them had the chicken with the gun on its head, and the other had a cow that seemed to be glowing or something. It was hard to tell what was going on, but it looked like it was controlling the chicken's movements. I wasn't sure what was happening, but then the chicken froze up and fell. It just dropped, motionless. What the? Did that thing just die? I started backing up, kind of panicking. I didn't know this was gonna be life or death.
Relax, man. He's fine. Watch.
The guard flipped a switch, and a few seconds later, the chicken just reappeared, standing right next to him like nothing happened.
They don't really die here. This is all just simulated. Everything here is just for practice.
Wait, so our monsters can't die here?
Nope. It's how we train them. Doesn't matter what happens. Your monster always comes back. But don't get too ahead of yourself. They still feel all of the pain.
That was kind of reassuring, but also terrifying. My monster couldn't die, but it would still suffer. But if I wanted to win tomorrow, I'd have to put it through some intense training. After watching that last match, I figured if I was ever gonna get good with my monster, now was the time. I stepped forward into the arena and took a deep breath. I spawned in my monster, and the second he appeared, the guy across the arena started laughing at me.
Seriously? Is that your monster? Bro, that's not even a monster. He's more of a petting zoo reject.
I wanted to say something smart back, but I couldn't think of anything. Whatever, man. I'm getting a better one soon anyways. Once I rank up, I'll be able to control the stronger monsters. This pig's just the beginning. He shrugged and summoned his own monster. A baby zombie. Just a regular one. No gear, no powers, just the basic kind you'd see running around every night. But still, there was something about the way my pig looked at it. Like he wasn't scared at all. It gave me a weird feeling. All right, buddy. Let's see what you can do. The intercom counted us down.
3, 2, 1.
And just like that, the fight started. The zombie came charging straight at me. No hesitation. He was faster than I expected. Before I could even react, he got a few good hits in. It wasn't looking good. I picked myself back up and looked at the zombie. He was just waiting, grinning as if he'd already won. But maybe he had. I was just a pig after all. But then I remembered, my monster wasn't just a pig. It had something the zombie didn't. All right, let's give this laser a shot. I took a couple steps back, trying to get enough distance. I could feel the hum of the laser building up. The zombie lunged at me again. Right as I finished charging the laser, I aimed, focused, and then fired. A beam shot across the arena, and before I knew it, the zombie was gone, and the arena was silent.
What the?
Even the guards were confused. No one expected the pig to win. Not like that. For the first time since I got here, I actually felt like I had a chance. Getting to S tier might actually be possible. We respawned back into our normal bodies. My opponent looked at me, genuinely impressed. I could tell he wasn't expecting that much from an F tier.
I'll admit, you're better than I expected.
Even though he had a better monster and way more experience, I'd actually managed to hold my own.
With a bit more training, you might actually have what it takes to get out of the F tier village.
Up until now, I thought the idea of reaching S tier was just a dream, something I'd never actually accomplish. But maybe that wasn't true. From now on, I'm gonna spend every second working towards my dream of making it to the S tier monster village. As soon as my training ended, I made my way to the front and flagged down one of the guards. I needed to know how these wagers work, considering I had one with Jubo tomorrow. Hey, quick question. How do monster wagers actually work?
Wagers? Simple. You find someone who has a monster you want, challenge them to a wager, and if they accept, it's a fight to the death. Winner takes the other monster.
Wait, like actually to the death?
No, come on. Don't you know this by now? Monsters just respawn afterwards, but the loser still has to give up their monster. So yeah, kinda brutal, but that's how rankings change around here.
It seemed pretty straightforward. I just had to train until I was strong enough to take Jubo down. I was gonna make my way through these villages, starting with him. I walked right up to Jubo and challenged him to the battle he promised me before. All right, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Wait, you're not serious, are you?
Yeah, I've been training. I know how the wagers work now. I want your monster and your spot in the E-tier village. I'm putting everything on the line.
Dude, you don't even have anything to offer. You still got that sad little pig?
Yeah, but he's stronger now. I'm stronger now.
Look, I don't just throw my monster away for nothing. This isn't charity. If I'm risking my spot, it better be for something actually worth it. And right now, you're not.
He shook his head and turned around. Just like that, all the work I did was for nothing. So that's it? You're scared I might win?
Scared? Please. Maybe if you show up with something that's not meant to be in a barnyard, I might consider it.
And then he walked off. I was left standing there, realizing I hit a wall. I couldn't fight him with a pig. Not because the pig was weak, but because he didn't think it was worth his time. And that's when it hit me. The guard mentioned something the other day, that some monsters aren't assigned. They're found, out in the wild, roaming. waiting for someone to find them. All right then, if that's what it takes for him to fight me, then I'll find one. Something rare, something that nobody would turn down. I didn't know where to start, or if it was even possible. But if it meant proving Jubo wrong and getting one step closer to S tier, I was willing to risk everything. I made my way into the forest. This is the only place you can find monsters in the wild, but it didn't look too welcoming. Everything about this place screamed turn back, but I didn't. I made my way through the forest, trying to push down the knot in my stomach. Forests like this, people don't come back, not unless they're lucky. Okay, just find something rare, something strong. How hard could it be? I kept walking through, but every step I took felt like I was walking straight towards my own death. Every few seconds, I'd hear something move in the distance. I clearly wasn't alone in here. And then, out of nowhere, I heard something in the bushes. What was that? I spun around, heart pounding. There was clearly something in these bushes. And whatever it was, it had to be dangerous. Okay, you got this. It's just a monster. This is what you came for. I pulled out my capture cube and got ready. This was it. No turning back now. The bush shook again, and then... a bunny? Are you serious? This clearly isn't what I came for. The bunny looked normal, completely harmless. Is this some kind of joke? I was disappointed. There's no way Jubo would accept my wager with this. But then I noticed something. It seemed like the bunny's eyes were glowing red. Something was off. And then, out of nowhere, he started hopping around like crazy. This wasn't any regular bunny. This was a killer bunny. I tossed a capture cube at him, and just like that, he was mine. Okay, this might actually be enticing enough for Jubo. These guys are pretty rare. I decided to leave the forest before anything else came out of those bushes too. I wasn't trying to figure out what else lived in this forest. When we finally made it back to town, the sun was already coming up. I was exhausted, covered in dirt, and probably shaking a little. But I had a new monster, a rare one. This time, Jubo wouldn't be laughing. Hey, I'm back, and I'm ready.
Again? Didn't I already tell you?
Yeah, not the pig. Check this out. I threw my cube and spawned in the new killer bunny.
No way. Is that what I think it is?
Yep, and he's mine.
Okay, now that's interesting.
He looked genuinely caught off guard. For the first time, he was actually interested.
All right then, you want your wager? You got it.
We both made our way to the main battle arena, and once we got inside, I spawned in my bunny. I was ready for whatever was about to happen. This is when I'd finally rank up to the next tier of monster civilization. But then it hit me. I had never even seen Jubo's monster. Not even when he teased me. Not ever.
Let's see how your bunny handles this.
And just then, he summoned his monster. A full-size skeleton. Tall, bow in hand. It was one of the stronger monsters you can get in E tier. And I was just standing there with a rabbit. Before I had time to prepare, the intercom counted us down.
3, 2, 1.
The second I was put into my bunny's body, arrows were already flying. He wasn't wasting any time. I was sprinting, jumping in every direction, just trying to dodge his arrows and stay alive. One arrow zipped by me and barely missed. Another one just barely hit the ground right in front of me. I was one shot away from death this entire time, but I kept moving. I was fast. I was small. I bounced from wall to wall, weaving through his arrows until finally I got close. I landed a good hit, and then another and another. The skeleton backed up. I might actually have a chance at winning this. I was doing real damage. This bunny wasn't just fast. He hit hard too. It seemed for a second that I might actually win, until suddenly it didn't. An arrow came out of nowhere and directly hit me. My screen flashed red, and suddenly I was on one heart, barely breathing. I panicked. Arrows were flying past me in every direction. This was it. This was the best monster I'd ever had, and I might actually lose it in my first battle. I kept jumping, darting between his arrows, desperately trying to figure something out. Something unique. Then, all at once, an idea hit me. Something bold. Something stupid. But it might actually work. I sprinted straight towards Jubo's skeleton, praying he'd miss all his arrows. I could feel them flying past my ears. One wrong move and I'd be dead. I got closer, and just when he was lining up the final shot, I jumped as high as I could. My bunny launched straight over the skeleton. I turned mid-air, aimed down, and struck. Backstab. Direct hit. The skeleton exploded into a burst of particles and dropped to the ground. For a moment, the entire arena was silent. I actually won.
Wager match complete. Congratulations, Gorf.
I couldn't believe it. I actually did it. The killer bunny pulled it off. We respawned back into our normal bodies, and Jubo clearly wasn't happy.
No. This has to be rigged. There's no way I just lost to an F tier.
He was fuming. I could tell he didn't expect to lose.
Wager complete. Monster transfer in progress.
Out of nowhere, a brand new capture cube showed up in my hotbar. The skeleton was mine now.
Congratulations, Gorf. You are now officially ranked up to the E tier village. Please make your way to your new home.
Just like that, I was officially out of F tier, and I finally got my hands on my first actual monster.
This isn't fair. That bunny was glitched or something. I demand a rematch.
I just walked away. He had been sent back to F tier, and I had no reason to look back. The second I stepped into the E tier village, everything felt different. The air was clearer, the ground was cleaner, and the monsters, they were on a whole nother level. I looked around and saw players with massive monsters, Endermen with armor, baby zombies sprinting at inhuman speeds, and even a guy riding a silverfish like a bicycle. So this is it. E tier. If I wanted to survive here or even rank up to the next village, I'd have to get a lot stronger, fast.
Welcome to Monster Civilization. Let me show you to your house. This is it. Get settled in. I'm sure you're gonna be here for a while.
Hey, welcome to E tier. Out of nowhere, a random guy showed up next to me, and beside him was something I had never seen before. It looked like a zombie, but definitely not a regular one. It had some kind of nether mutation. It was some kind of burnt zombie.
I saw your battle with Jubo. Those were some nice moves.
Thanks, but that's nothing compared to what you have. What even is that?
Oh, right. This is my fire zombie. I'm actually from the D tier village. I just wanted to come congratulate you on ranking up.
You're from D tier?
Yeah, been there for a while. It's harder to rank up than you think.
His monster was insane. If I was able to get something like that, monster battles would be a piece of cake. I'd be able to beat whoever I wanted. Well, your monster is crazy. How can I get one like that?
Oh, well, it's not easy. If you want to get a fire monster like mine, the only way is in the burnt forest. It's a super dangerous forest, kind of like the one you're used to, but so much worse. Not too long ago, I went in there with a group of 5 others, looking for new monsters. I was the only one who made it out alive.
This sounded perfect. A forest so dangerous, only one person was able to make it out? If that's where he got a monster like that, it's exactly where I needed to be. I knew it would be a death wish, but if I wanted to make it all the way to S tier, I couldn't play it safe. Every tier gets more and more brutal. I need to make sure I get stronger too. I had no clue what kind of monsters I'd find in here, but if I wanted one of the strongest monsters in all of Monster Civilization, this was the only shot I had. It didn't look safe, as if the forest itself was warning me not to go in, but I couldn't afford to play it safe. Right as I was about to head in, I got stopped.
Whoa, hold on. You're not actually going in there, are you?
Yeah. Why?
Dude, no one goes in there anymore. Not after what's been happening recently.
I didn't know what he was talking about, but it seemed serious. What are you talking about?
Just recently, whole groups of players have been going in and never coming back. It's been happening for weeks now. 5 here, 6 there. They just vanish. No traces, no bodies, just gone. Last I heard, it's up to like 20 people or something.
I felt my stomach drop instantly. This forest already seemed deadly. Now I'm hearing over 20 people have gone missing in there. This sounded bad.
Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't go in. There's clearly something in there making all these people go missing, and whoever ends up capturing whatever it is, they'll be unstoppable. Just remember, this isn't like the other forests. If you're not careful, you'll end up just like the others. Missing.
I didn't know what to say. Chances are if I went into this forest, I wouldn't make it back out alive. But just like I always say, sometimes you have to take that risk. If I turn back now, I'll never make it to S tier. Whatever was waiting in that forest, I had to face it head on. Thanks for the warning, but I'm going in.
You can't be serious. That's a death wish. You know, in order to capture the monster here, you have to be able to kill it first, right?
What? What are you talking about?
Of course you don't know. I told you, this forest isn't like what you're used to on your lower layers. If you can't defeat the monster you want, you can forget about capturing it.
Great. Just another reason why I'll probably never make it out of this forest. There is no way I'm beating whatever's in there, considering it's already taken out so many people. But it doesn't matter. This is what I signed up for. I have to try.
All right, man. Good luck. You're gonna need it. Wait. Here, take these first. It's nothing crazy, but I know you have a skeleton, and it might help you against whatever's in there.
Thanks. I hope you're right. I thanked him and then stepped into the forest. I could immediately feel the heat. Everything around me looked scorched, like it had been set on fire and then left to rot. The trees were burnt to their core, and for a second, I just walked, taking it all in. It looked dead, but somehow it didn't feel empty. Everything had this burnt, fiery feel to it. Even the ground felt burnt. I wandered around for a bit longer, but I didn't see anything. No monsters, no movement, nothing. And that's when I started to doubt myself a bit. If I get stuck in this village with my pig and bunny, me, there's no way I'd make it to the S tier village. Every monster there is stronger, faster, and even smarter. I need something way more powerful. Something that could hold its own against whatever's up there in those higher villages. But just then, right when I was starting to doubt all this, I saw something. At first, I thought it was just lava, but when I got closer, I realized it was a platform. Finally, something actually stood out. Maybe I was actually getting somewhere. I nervously stepped onto the platform. The second my foot hit the brick, I could tell this wasn't just a random structure. It looked like something built specifically for a boss fight. The size, the layout, it felt intentional, but there was nothing here. I sat around waiting for something to show up, but there was nothing. No mobs, no noise, it was just silent. Something felt off. Not just here, but in this entire forest. It was like it had been emptied out. Like whatever was here before had been taken over by something stronger. But then I heard something. I turned around and standing right behind me was a giant, mutated, burnt zombie. I didn't have time to think. Immediately, it lunged at me. I barely got out of the way before being smashed to bits. But even seeing it move, I could already tell. I was cooked. This wasn't just some overpowered mob. It was mutated. Whatever this thing was, I had no clue how strong it really was. I needed to make a decision fast. I had 3 monsters on me, but only one shot to pick the right one. The bunny. It's small, fast, maybe it could dodge for long enough to land a hit, but it only has 4 hearts. One hit from that thing and it's gone. The skeleton had range. That could buy me some distance, maybe stall some time, but let's be honest, a single arrow, that'd do nothing. Lastly, the pig. It wasn't just agile, it had a laser, something that could do some actual damage. I didn't hesitate. The second I picked up the pig, I spun around and charged up the laser. The mutant zombie was sprinting at me full speed. I didn't have time to think. I lined it up and fired. The shot hit him clean, right in the chest. It knocked the mutant zombie back hard, slammed him all the way back to the edge of the platform. Surprisingly, there were burn marks all across his chest. For a second, I thought it might have been enough, but of course, I would never get that lucky. The laser was already on cooldown, and now I was out there alone, with that thing charging back at me. It attacked me again, and I barely managed to dodge out of the way. His attacks were heavy. One of these, and I might be done for. I couldn't outdamage it. Not yet. So I did the only thing I could think. I ran. I looped around him, trying to keep far enough where he couldn't hit me, just long enough for my laser to recharge. I needed time, but luckily, I was agile enough to buy some time. I kept running, dodging, weaving, doing whatever I could just to survive, until finally, the laser was back. I got a little distance. Not nearly as much as last time, but it might be enough. I had one shot. I started charging the laser. It was almost done. I was about to fire, but right before I could, he slammed down hard, and my heart was pounding. I only had a couple hearts left. One more hit and I was dead. I was lucky enough to survive this one hit, but I was screwed. I should have known this pig, as weak as it is, it's not built to take on something this strong. Not alone. I couldn't let my greed get the best of me. If I stay here any longer, I'd end up just like the others. Gone and forgotten. Just another body in this burnt forest. I had to run. I wasn't gonna let this be the end of my journey. I didn't stop running. I had to make sure I wasn't being chased. I kept looking over my shoulder, waiting to hear those heavy footsteps. But after a while, there was nothing. I was safe. I switched back to my player form and stood still for a second, catching my breath. And that's when it hit me. I almost just lost everything. If you die out here, out in the wild, you don't respawn. There's no reset, no second chance. It's just over. I need to be more careful. I hadn't found anything in this place yet. No loot, no new monsters, just a near-death experience. Maybe it was time to head back. If I stayed any longer, I might not get as lucky the second time. I started walking towards the exit. Risking my life wasn't worth it. But right as I neared the end, I saw something. Standing right there next to a tree was the same burnt zombie I saw earlier. The exact one I wanted. This was perfect. If I wanted to rank up to the next village, this was it. This was the perfect opportunity. But in a forest like this, you don't just find a monster and capture it. You have to kill it first. And after everything that's happened so far, I wasn't exactly confident. None of my monsters felt strong enough to take something like this out. But then I remembered. That guy, the one who warned me about the missing people, he gave me something. Instant damage arrows. If I could just get the jump on it, land one clean shot while it wasn't looking, that might be enough to take it down in just one hit. I morphed into my skeleton and moved in close, behind a tree, making sure it still hadn't seen me. This was it. I had to hit this shot. I pulled back the bow, took a deep breath, and fired. And to my surprise, it dropped. Just like that. The arrow landed clean and the zombie was down. And then I saw it. Right where the zombie died was a brand new capture cube. I walked up to the cube, and when I picked it up, I saw the name flash across my hotbar. D tier capture cube. This was it. I had officially ranked up. I made it out of the E tier village, and I was that much closer to my dream of S tier. As I made my way out into the new village, I instantly noticed the theme. There were burnt skeletons, burnt creepers, even piglins. Everything here felt stronger, modified, and way more dangerous. Unlike the pigs and cows I'd fought before. These monsters actually looked like they belonged in Monster Civilization. I was finally getting some. This wasn't just a new tier. It was a whole new level of Monster Civilization. But even now, after all that, I wasn't satisfied. I didn't come here to make it to D tier. My goal was to make it all the way to S tier, to the very top, the strongest village in Monster Civilization. And from the looks of it, I still had a long way to go.
Wake up, kid. It's time for your monster battle.
Alright, let's get this over with. This is Monster Civilization. I haven't been here long, but I've already ranked up through multiple villages and unlocked some super strong monsters. I've also never lost a monster battle. Hopefully today doesn't change that. Across from me, my opponent walked into the arena.
Welcome, Gorf. For today's monster battle, you will be battling a player from the C tier village, one tier above you.
Wait, C tier? I knew at some point I'd have to face someone stronger than me, but I didn't know it'd be this soon. I just made it to D tier. There's no way I can beat someone from the C tier village. There's no telling how strong their monsters are. But then again, I've been flying through these villages. Just a couple days ago, I was in F tier. I've already ranked up multiple times, making it through multiple unique villages. Who knows? Maybe this will be just as easy. Just then, my opponent spawned in his monster, and that's when I knew I couldn't have been more wrong. Suddenly, a massive, strong, mutant Enderman spawned in front of me. I've never seen anything like this before, but after seeing how strong the mutant zombie was yesterday, I'm definitely in for a challenge. I spawned in my monster, a puny burnt zombie that I've never even fought with. I literally just captured this zombie last night, but this is a risk I'd have to take. My only hope was to pray that this zombie was stronger than it seemed. Just then, the intercom began to count us down.
The monster battle will begin in 3, 2, 1, fight.
Immediately, I charged into battle. The Enderman seemed to just be standing still. I ran in, hoping to get a free hit, but before I could, he just teleported out of the way. I charged at him one more time, but again, he dodged it with ease. I wasn't sure what to do. If the fight kept going like this, there's no way I would ever win. I had to come up with something smart, fast. Almost every attack I throw at him ends up missing. If I want to do any damage at all, I'd have to do something unexpected. I charged back into battle, but of course, he just dodged all of my attacks with ease until suddenly I went for a hit and he just disappeared. I had no clue where he went until I decided to turn around. Wait! Great, I lost.
Monster battle over. Good try, Gorf. Maybe just do some damage next time.
Great. Even the intercom is making fun of me. I was still confused. That Enderman didn't just beat me. He demolished me. I never stood a chance. I knew ranking up wouldn't be easy, but seriously? Just one village above me and this guy's that much stronger than I am? The confidence I had built up from the monster battles on lower layers vanished in an instant. If this was what was waiting for me on the higher layers, I was definitely in trouble. Maybe this burnt zombie wasn't as good as I thought. If I wanted to rank up, I needed something tougher, something that could survive more than 5 seconds. As I was making my way out of the arena, I approached the guy who just beat me. Maybe he could give me some info on how he got a monster so powerful. Hey, wait up. How did you get a monster like that? I've never seen anything that strong. He just stared at me, as if he didn't think I was worthy of a response.
You think I'm just gonna hand out my secrets to someone like you? You're still thinking like someone from the F tier village. We're not friends, we're competitors. Face it, someone like you could never have a monster like mine.
Before I could even think of a response, he just walked off, leaving me disappointed. Great. Even he's making fun of me. But maybe he's right. Just a couple days ago, all I had was a bunny and a pig. Who am I kidding? Maybe I should just be happy with what I have. Maybe making it all the way to S tier just isn't realistic. Sadly, I made my way back to the D tier village. My spirits were lower than ever. Just as I was about to enter my house, the guy from yesterday, the one who gave me all the harming arrows, he stopped me.
Hey, you're alive? Most people who go into the burnt forest don't make it back out alive. You've gotta have something special.
Trust me, I really don't. The only reason I survived and got got anything useful is because of the arrows you gave me.
I'm sure that's not true. But anyways, did you see anything interesting in there? No one really makes it out to tell the story of what's inside.
Immediately, the mutant zombie came to mind. That had to be what he meant, but I wasn't sure I could trust him yet. After all, we'd just met. Nah, nothing interesting really. Just the burnt zombie I captured.
Aw man, that's too bad. But hey, congrats on the new monster. I'm sure you'll make it real far with that guy.
Just then, he started walking away, leaving me with even more questions. But as he was walking away, it hit me. This guy could be exactly what I needed. I've been completely alone throughout this entire journey so far. He could be my first real ally in Monster Civilization. Wait, actually, I did see something in there. But if you really want to know, we need to go somewhere private. He looked intrigued, and he quickly agreed to follow me inside my house, where no one could overhear us. I saw something insane, but if I tell you, you have to promise not to tell anyone.
Of course. Whatever you tell me stays between us.
Okay, it was a mutant zombie. A burnt one. It was massive, insanely strong, and it nearly killed me in a single hit.
Are you serious? That's insane. But it matches up with the rumors I've heard.
Exactly. If we managed to capture a monster like that, we'd be unstoppable. We'd rank up so much faster. Who knows? It might even take us all the way to S tier.
You're right. I don't know how you could get much stronger than a burnt, mutated mutant zombie.
Just then, I realized exactly what my next move had to be. Capturing a monster that powerful wouldn't be easy, but maybe with enough effort, it could be possible. Before my friend left, he told me something.
Actually, there's something you might be interested in. There's a secret event happening tonight, an invite-only underground monster battle. It could be the perfect chance for you to get something strong enough to beat that mutant zombie.
Really? Like a private wager match?
Yeah, people wager their monsters here all the time. If you want something strong enough to take out that mutant zombie, this could be your chance.
It sounded risky, but it might be exactly the kind of opportunity I needed. Anything to get closer to capturing that mutant zombie is worth the risk. All right, I'm in.
Good. Meet me tonight at the edge of the village. I'll let you in.
With that, he headed out, leaving me to prepare for what could be the biggest step in my journey yet. I made my way to the training arena to find someone to practice against. Immediately, me and my opponent rushed into the arena, and he spawned in his monster, a stray. Strays are just ice-themed skeletons, so this should be a piece of cake. I spawned in my burnt zombie and got ready to fight. The intercom counted down, and we began. At first, I got a couple solid hits in, but then the stray hit me with an arrow, and suddenly, I started to feel weird. Out of nowhere, I started freezing. The arrow already did decent damage, and now I'm freezing to death. I tried to push back into the fight, but another arrow hit me, just making the freezing worse. Completely confused, I stopped, unsure of what to do. Another arrow came at me, and before I knew it, I was dead. I respawned back into my body, confused and frustrated. It was just a skeleton. Why was it so strong? But then, out of nowhere, a guard walked up to me and explained something insane.
Dude, you should have known you didn't stand a chance. You're using a fire monster against an ice one. Certain themed monsters have advantages over others, and ice is one of them.
I never knew about this before, but thinking about it now, it actually makes a lot of sense. Even though a stray might not be the strongest monster out there, against something like my fire-themed zombie, it was a perfect counter. So if I wanted to win this fight, I'd have to try something different. I challenged him again, but this time choosing my trusty pig. Sure, he was from the lowest layer of Monster Civilization, but he's been one of my most reliable monsters since the beginning. He's stronger than you'd think. The intercom counted us down again, and we spawned back into our monsters' bodies. This time, I was confident with my pig at my side. Immediately, I charged towards the stray, dodging arrows left and right. But just before reaching him, he landed a shot on me. But instead of freezing up this time, it barely even did a heart of damage. I closed distance quickly, landing a few solid melee hits. The stray seemed nervous and started to back away. He managed to get a bit of distance, but it didn't matter. I charged up my laser, took aim, and fired directly at it, instantly knocking it out. We respawned back into our bodies, and honestly, I felt amazing. For the first time ever, I overcame a challenge head on and figured out how to win. My pig has proven itself again. Who knew that a monster from the F tier village would be this reliable? Feeling more confident than ever, I left the training arena and headed back to my village. The secret wager event was starting soon, so I made my way to our meeting point. Just as I approached, I spotted my friend from earlier, waiting outside for me.
There you are. Are you sure about this? It could get dangerous.
I'm sure. Risks are exactly what we need if we want to rank up. He nodded, and together we walked in. Immediately, I noticed a massive underground arena, buzzing with excitement and filled with spectators. This was definitely bigger than I'd imagined. In the middle of the arena, two people were already fighting, one with a zombie pigman and the other with a frozen enderman. At first, the battle seemed evenly matched, but then suddenly, the frozen enderman struck the pigman down with ease. The intercom echoed through the arena, announcing that the frozen enderman had just secured his 6th consecutive victory. The guy who owned the enderman just stood confidently in his corner, taunting the crowd and challenging anyone brave enough or maybe dumb enough to step up next. Everyone around me was muttering in disbelief, claiming that it was impossible to beat this guy. Doubt started creeping in, and I wondered if coming here was a mistake, but suddenly something clicked. I remembered what the guard had explained to me earlier at the training arena. Certain monster mutations have advantages over others. This ice-themed monster was easily destroying all of the fire-themed ones. But if I fought it with something different, something not fire-related, I might actually stand a chance. Before I could even think about it, I shouted, "I'll do it." My friend immediately turned to me, shocked.
Are you sure? You see what he's been doing to everyone else, right?
I'm sure. I know what I'm doing.
But if he beats you, you'll lose your monster. Are you sure this is worth it?
Trust me, I got this. I stepped into the ring. My heart was racing as the intercom announced our fight.
On one side, we have our reigning champion, undefeated, unmatched, unstoppable, with his terrifying frozen enderman. And on the other side, we have some random kid who just climbed out of the F-tier village? Good luck, kid. You're definitely gonna need it.
Instantly, embarrassment surged through me. Losing wasn't an option now. If I lost, I'd lose my best monster and my pride. But just then, the countdown began and I spawned into my monster. Right away, I tried to fire my laser, but the frozen enderman effortlessly teleported out of the way. I wasn't worried though. My laser just needed a recharge. We traded hits, and to my surprise, the enderman attacks barely scratched me. This enderman was only strong against the fire-themed monsters. Against my pig, he wasn't that strong at all. Realizing this, my confidence surged. Maybe a bit too much. I got reckless, charging in carelessly, but the enderman just kept dodging and teleporting, avoiding most of my powerful hits. This fight felt even for a moment. Neither of us gained the upper hand, but suddenly he started landing some powerful blows. My cockiness vanished instantly. I panicked at the thought of losing my pig, my most reliable monster by far. If I lost here, I might get stuck in these lower villages forever. Just as the anxiety started to overwhelm me, my laser was fully recharged. Perfect time. One good shot and he'd be finished. But the arena was small. I wouldn't have much time. I had to pick my moment carefully. I kept fighting back, going blow for blow with the enderman, waiting. But then, suddenly, he teleported away, far to the other side of the arena. This was it. I backed up quickly to the opposite edge of the arena, charging up my laser as fast as possible. The enderman rushed at me, clearly planning to end this fight now. But the laser was almost ready. Just a few seconds left. But suddenly, the enderman teleported directly in front of me, raising his arms for the final blow. And then, just in time, my laser shot right through the enderman, and I had officially won the monster battle. On the ground in front of me was another D-tier capture cube, this one with an ice enderman clearly marked on the top. I reached down, picked it up, and transformed back into my player form.
Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning champion has officially been defeated by the new kid from the F-tier village. What an upset.
I made my way out of the ring, still shaking from all the adrenaline. As I approached my friend, I could see a huge grin on his face.
Dude, you actually did it. You took down the reigning champion. I knew you could do it.
Honestly, I wasn't so sure at first.
Well, you nailed it. And now look, this frozen enderman changes everything. You remember that burnt mutant zombie we talked about?
Of course. I almost died to it back in the forest.
Exactly. Now with this new ice-themed monster, taking down and capturing the burnt mutant zombie should be way easier. Ice is a perfect counter to the fire-themed monsters. This is exactly what you needed.
As he said that, the realization finally settled in. He was right. This wasn't just a random win. It was the exact thing I'd been searching for. Capturing that burnt mutant zombie suddenly went from impossible to completely achievable. Me and my friend headed out of the underground arena and made our way to the burnt forest. Right before stepping in, a thought suddenly crossed my mind. If I managed to capture this burnt mutant zombie, I'd rank up, and I'd have to move on without my friend. Wait, if I actually capture this thing, I'll rank up and leave you behind here.
Yeah, but don't worry about that. You need to focus on ranking up. I'll find a way to catch up with you later. I promise.
He smiled reassuringly, but I could tell he was just trying to encourage me.
Now get in there and capture that monster. You got this.
With a final nod, I turned and walked into the burnt forest, determined and unafraid. I headed directly to the spot where I'd encountered the burnt mutant zombie last time, but this time, fear wasn't holding me back. I stepped onto the platform, carefully scanning my surroundings, ready for whatever would come next. And then, suddenly, out of the shadows, the burnt mutant zombie emerged. Without hesitation, I transformed into my new frozen Enderman, feeling more confident than ever. He charged straight at me, raising his massive arms to attack, but at the last second, I teleported out of the way, and he swung through empty air. Appearing right behind him, I quickly landed a few strong hits, taking advantage of his confusion and dealing some solid damage. Furious, he spun around to attack again, but just as before, I teleported safely away. We went back and forth like this for a while. I'd get a hit or two in and then just teleport away in time. But after a bit of success, I was due for some bad luck. I made a critical error, teleporting just a split second too late. The zombie landed a devastating hit, instantly wiping out nearly all of my health. Panic set in as I realized how close I was to losing everything again. Memories flooded back from my last fight. My health was dangerously low, and I knew a single hit would crush my dreams of reaching S tier forever. But this time, I wasn't the same weak fighter as before. I wasn't running away. Not now. I charged straight back into battle. The zombie swung at me again, but I teleported instantly behind him, delivering some strong hits back to back to back. He spun around again, but I was too quick. Every swing he made missed completely. I could see him slowing down. His movements grew sluggish, his attacks nowhere near as fast or as dangerous as they had been before. Realizing he had to be close to defeat, I kept the pressure on, teleporting rapidly around him, landing blow after blow. And finally, after one last precise hit, he collapsed heavily to the ground. A puff of smoke rose into the air, and where he laid was now a C tier capture cube. I reached down, picked up the capture cube, and suddenly everything hit me all at once. This wasn't a game anymore. I wasn't the same weak fighter from the F tier village. I'd actually made it all the way to C tier, and there was no turning back now. Without wasting any more time, I headed straight to the C tier village, carefully looking around at all the other players with their powerful monsters. But eventually, I came across a peculiar looking building, and it looked strangely familiar, almost like I'd seen it before. But anyways, I stepped inside and approached the shopkeeper. Hey, what exactly is this place?
Welcome. This is the Monster Mutation Store. If you're looking to strengthen your monsters, you're in the right place.
How exactly do I strengthen my monster?
Easy. Just trade in 5 of your extra C tier monsters, and then I'll mutate any monster of your choice to B tier.
This was perfect. With my new mutant zombie, I could capture a ton of new monsters and use them to upgrade one of my current monsters all the way to B tier, getting me one step closer to my dream of S tier. I stepped outside feeling pumped and immediately approached the first person I saw. Hey, wanna battle?
Wait, didn't you just rank up like 10 minutes ago?
Yep, that's me. He smirked, clearly thinking it'd be an easy win for him.
Alright, I'll battle you. Just don't come begging me to give your monster back after.
We made our way to the monster battle arena. He spawned in his monster confidently, a zombie in full iron armor. But then, I spawned in mine. The second my mutant zombie appeared, I could tell he immediately regretted accepting this battle. He quickly realized he'd made a huge mistake. He tried to back out, but it was way too late. We transformed into our monsters and the battle began. Immediately, I sprinted straight towards him, and he desperately tried to turn and run. But my mutant zombie was faster, closing the gap quickly. I slammed down hard, instantly taking away most of his health. The impact knocked him across the arena. He struggled back up, and as I charged again, I saw him just standing still, accepting his defeat. He knew it was over. I hesitated for a split second. This didn't feel fair, but I reminded myself that this was what it was all for, and I knew this was exactly what needed to happen. With one final slam, it was finished. We transformed back into our bodies, and the battle was officially over. I collected his monster and walked out, honestly feeling a bit guilty, but deep down, I knew this was the path I had to take. I needed to keep challenging others, capturing their monsters until I could finally mutate one of my own into a powerful B tier monster. Feeling unstoppable, I went back into the village and immediately challenged another person to battle. Once again, as the battle started, I rushed forward without hesitation. This opponent had an Enderman, but by now I knew exactly how Enderman fought. This was going to be easy. Just as I expected, he teleported away after the first couple of hits, but I saw it coming a mile away. Predicting his movements, I spun around quickly and slammed down, instantly finishing him off and securing myself yet another monster. It was clear now that I had a huge advantage. I decided to keep going, challenging everyone I could find. I quickly took down 2 more opponents without breaking a sweat, easily capturing their monster. I only needed one more, but just when everything seemed perfect, something happened that nearly ended my entire journey. I approached one last challenger, someone who looked strangely familiar, although I couldn't quite figure out why. Before I knew it, I challenged him and there was no backing out now. He confidently agreed and we headed straight to the battle arena. I spawned in my mutant zombie feeling invincible, but as my opponent spawned in his mutant enderman, realization hit me. That's why he looked so familiar. The fight began instantly and I was worried. His mutant enderman charged at me with insane speed, catching me completely off guard. I tried to slam down at him, but before I knew it, he teleported behind me, dealing some serious damage. Quickly backing off, I realized how serious this fight was. If I lost here, I'd lose my mutant zombie, the one monster that had brought me closer than ever to S tier. Taking a deep breath, I rushed back in, attacking again, but once again, the enderman effortlessly teleported away. Anticipating this move, I spun around instantly, trying to catch him off guard, but he was even faster, teleporting behind me again and striking down hard. Feeling completely outmatched, I backed away, panic setting in. This could actually be it. If I was gonna win, I needed to play it smart. I waited patiently, letting him make the next move. Right as he charged back at me, I raised my arms, preparing for an attack. As expected, the enderman teleported behind me. He thought he caught me off guard, but just as he was about to strike, I spun around and slammed down onto him with everything I had. He quickly teleported away, clearly hurt. Now hesitant, he kept his distance, waiting for me to charge first. Feeling confident again, I charged straight at him, slamming down quickly. He dodged it effortlessly, but I was counting on it. Anticipating his teleport, I spun around once more, slamming directly down onto him before he could react. The mutant enderman tried teleporting once again, but he was too slow. My final strike connected, ending the fight. I watched the smoke rise up and reveal another capture cube. I collected his monster, relieved. I'd now beaten 5 opponents, including a mutant enderman. I finally had enough to rank up now. With 5 monsters in my inventory, I made my way back to the mutation shop and handed them over, only keeping my pig, the mutant zombie, and frozen enderman.
Wow, this is impressive. Now what monster would you like to mutate to B tier?
My first thought was the burnt mutant zombie. I was clearly demolishing anyone here with ease. It was powerful, sure, but then I remembered how easily the frozen enderman took it down. If I was gonna make it all the way to S tier, I needed something more reliable, something more consistent, something with no weaknesses. I pulled out the pig and handed it to the shopkeeper.
Are you sure? This guy's from F tier.
Trust me, he's got more potential than you'd think. The shopkeeper shrugged and put my monsters into some weird machine. A couple seconds later, he handed the pig back, but now it was a B tier monster. I was so proud. I knew how strong and reliable this pig already was, and now there's no telling what he's capable of. I left the shop, stepping into B tier for the first time. The village was insane. Massive steampunk buildings and towering trees. There were some super interesting mobs all around. It was like I'd stepped into an entirely new world. But as I walked deeper into the village, something caught my eye. Right in the middle of the village, standing completely still, was someone I thought I'd never see again. Jubo. I walked up to him confused. Jubo, weren't you just in F tier? He looked at me, completely cold.
I've been looking for you. That stupid pig of yours sent me back to F tier, and I haven't been the same since.
I was stunned. He was still holding a grudge against me and my pig after all this time?
I want revenge, not just against you, but against your pig.
I didn't say anything. Honestly, I was a little scared. He seemed serious, and there's no telling what kind of monsters he has now.
One-on-one monster battle. The winner gets your pig.
I froze. This was the strongest monster I had, especially after I just mutated, and he wants me to put it on the line for a monster battle? I wasn't so sure. If I lose my pig, there's no telling if I'll ever make it to S tier, but I couldn't back down now. If I wanted to rank up again and make it that much closer to my dream, I'd have to take risks. Okay. Let's do it. Immediately, Jubo and I made our way to the monster battle arena, but I was falling behind. I was beginning to panic. If I lost this fight, my pig would be gone, along with my shot of making it to S tier. I had to make sure this went my way.
Hey, hold up a sec.
As I was walking in, a guard stopped me at the entrance.
You better not lose in there. I've got money on you.
What? Money? I just stared at him, confused.
Yeah, me and one of the other guards bet on whether you'd actually make it to S tier, so don't screw this up.
I couldn't tell if he was messing with me. Are you serious?
Yeah, and if you don't win, I'm gonna be pissed.
Great, as if it wasn't enough pressure already. Now I had some random guard's money on me. All right, I'll try my hardest. And with that, I headed inside the arena, but as I walked in, it hit me. I just mutated my pig. This was its first fight since then. I reached for the cube, tossing it onto the floor. Suddenly, my pig spawned in and it was huge, bigger than ever before. And now, its laser was glowing gold and blue. This was insane. There's no telling how strong he is now. There's there's no way I'm losing this fight. Then, on the other side of the arena, Jubo spawned in his monster. In front of him, a massive iron golem spawned, towering over him like it was nothing. It wasn't too crazy, but this was definitely going to be a difficult fight. Even though my pig was stronger than ever, I was nervous. I couldn't stop thinking about what would happen if I lost. This pig wasn't just my strongest monster. It was my ticket to S tier. Losing it now would destroy everything I've worked for. Suddenly, the fight started and the golem began stomping towards me. Every step shook the arena. He was slow, but I wasn't taking any chances. I decided to test the new laser. I held my ground and started charging it up. The hum grew louder and louder, and suddenly I fired. A blinding blue beam shot across the arena and slammed right into the goal. For a moment, I thought it was over, but then the laser shut off and he just stood there without even a scratch. Uh-oh, panic kicked in. I started backing up, frantically trying to recharge the laser before he got any closer, but he was closing the distance fast. And suddenly, he lunged forward, slamming his massive arms down where I stood, but I was quicker, barely dodging out of the way. I managed to land a couple of quick hits, but before I could get any real damage done, he swung again. Another insanely strong slam aimed right at me. I dodged again, heart pounding. Realizing I needed more distance, I backed up quickly, charging my laser up again, praying one more blast would actually make a difference. The hum built up, and finally, a blue glow spilled across the arena as I unleashed it straight into his chest. The beam tore through the air, but the golem just kept walking forward, completely tanking the laser like it was nothing. Before I knew it, he was right in front of me, and finally, the laser cut off and he slammed down with everything he had. Before I could even realize what happened, I respawned back into my body, in shock of what just happened. The intercom's voice echoed through the arena.
Jubo has won the monster battle. Congratulations, Gorf's pig is now yours.
I couldn't believe it. The same pig that brought me all the way from F tier was gone.
And to reward you for your outstanding performance, you've officially been ranked up to A tier.
I just stood there, barely able to breathe, when Jubo walked over with a smug look on his face.
You know, I actually thought for a second that you'd actually make it to S tier, but I guess you just got lucky up until now. Eventually, that luck had to run out.
I didn't even have the energy to respond. I couldn't believe what was happening.
Honestly, you should be happy you made it this far. You'll probably be stuck here forever.
He just kept talking, but it was like his voice was just fading into the background. I couldn't even understand what he was saying.
Tell you what, I'll make it to S tier for you. Maybe I'll even capture one of those bosses while I'm at it.
He turned, walking out of the arena with my pig. I might never see him or my pig again. I followed him out of the arena, still replaying everything that just happened in my head. But before I could even make it out of the arena, the guard from earlier stopped me.
Whoa, hold on. What just happened in there? How did you lose? You just upgraded that pig. There's no way you lost.
I don't know, man. I don't even know what happened in there.
But
why do you even care? I'm the one who just lost my best monster.
look, kid, I've got a lot of money riding on you.
I don't care. You're worried about a stupid bet while I'm out here watching everything I've worked for fall apart. Maybe next time, don't bet on a pig from the F tier village. I didn't wait for him to answer. I just walked away, leaving him standing there with nothing to say. I made my way back to the B tier village, head down, barely noticing anything around me. I just couldn't forget about what happened in that arena. My pig was actually gone, and I had no idea if I'd ever make it to S tier now. After wandering around aimlessly for a while, I heard something weird.
Psst. Hey,
I froze for a second, looking around for whatever made that noise. Who's there?
over here. It's me.
I walked in a bit closer, and sure enough, it was the same guard from earlier. Are you serious? What are you doing here? Are you following me?
Relax, it's important. If you want your pig back, you need to listen to me.
The second he mentioned my pig, he had my interest. Go on.
There's an event happening tonight, and the winner of it gets bumped straight up to A tier.
I felt my chest tighten. After how weak I felt earlier, this was my chance. It might be my only chance. And you think that'll help me get my pig back?
Trust me, if you win, you'll be right there in A tier with Jubo. You can challenge him again for your pig back.
He leaned in closer, lowering his voice.
At midnight, everyone participating heads into the forest. Whoever comes back with the strongest monster gets to keep it and rank up to the next tier of monster civilization.
I just stared at him for a moment. This was perfect. Not only could I rank up, but if I caught something strong enough to take on Jubo, I could challenge him again and take my pig back. Okay, I'm in.
Good. Then you better be ready. This competition isn't going to be anything like the monster battles you're used to.
For the first time all day, I actually felt like I had a plan. And this time, I wasn't gonna lose. I paused for a second and then asked him where the forest even was. I'd just gotten here and I hadn't seen one yet.
Just near the end of the waterfall. You'll find it there.
I thought his response was a little weird, but I wasn't gonna question it. I just nodded. Thanks.
Be there 5 minutes before midnight. And don't forget, I still have money on you. You better not lose.
I walked off, still thinking about what he said. I needed to prepare, but with my pig gone, the only monsters I had left were the burnt mutant zombie and the frozen enderman. But the sun was already setting, and I didn't have any time to waste. If I wanted to make it there before midnight, I had to leave now. I took one last look back at the village and started heading towards the waterfall. Whatever was waiting for me in that forest, I was ready for it. I walked through the village. The streets were quieter than I'd ever seen. Most people were slipping back into their houses, but me, I was on a mission. The deeper I went, the darker it got, until the path in front of me stopped. All I could see was the waterfall, but then I noticed something. Tucked away, just enough for you to miss it unless you were looking for it, was a narrow path, disappearing behind the waterfall. Without even thinking, I headed for it. I walked through the waterfall and found myself in a small clearing, with 4 other players already there. They were all grouped up, clearly waiting to start something big.
Wait, aren't you that guy? The one from F tier?
He started laughing, and before I knew it, the others joined in.
What's a guy like you doing here?
I'm here to compete in the rank up challenge. That only made it worse. All 4 of them laughed in unison.
You're stupid.
Yeah, you'll be dead before the sun even rises.
I didn't bother saying anything else. I've heard that same thing at every stage so far, and every time I've proved them wrong. Tonight, I plan on doing it again. Before I could say anything else, a guard stepped out from the forest ahead.
All right, listen up. There's plenty of monsters in there. Whoever ends up making it out with the strongest one wins. You keep it and you rank up. Simple. Good luck.
Just like that, everyone sprinted into the forest at once, scattering in different directions. I just stood there, frozen.
What are you doing? Go!
I took a deep breath and ran in, trying to keep up. The second my feet crossed into the forest, I knew this wasn't going to be as simple as it sounded. The air was heavier and darker. The forest didn't feel welcome. I kept walking, thinking about how bad of an idea this probably was. If I die here, it's all over. And then that's when I saw it. Something laying in the dirt ahead. Scattered across the ground were a bunch of empty capture cubes. I crouched down, confused, but then it hit me. This was someone's inventory, which meant whoever it belonged to didn't make it out. Someone died here. My heart sank. I didn't stick around to think about it any longer. I took off, moving as fast as I could, because whatever got them might still be here. I kept running, heart pounding, eyes darting through the shadows, expecting something to leap out at me at any second. Every sound I heard made me flinch, but then just ahead, something caught my eye. A massive tree ripped straight out of the ground and lying on its side like it was nothing. I slowed down, staring from a distance. Whatever did this, it was way stronger than anything I'd faced before. I stayed low, watching, and then suddenly, movement. On the other side of the tree was a giant robot towering over the fallen tree. It was just walking, scanning the area, like it was hunting for its next target. And right then, in that moment, I knew this was it. If I could capture that thing, I'd rank up instantly. Not just that, but when it came time to face Jubo and get my pig back, I'd have the power to actually win. I took a deep breath, thinking fast about which monster I should use here. I had my mutant zombie, but let's be honest. In a real fight of pure strength, this thing would crush it without breaking a sweat. So instead, I went with the enderman. Sure, 1 or 2 hits would probably end it instantly, but if I played it smart, I could dodge most attacks and maybe land the right hit when it mattered. I turned into the enderman and crept forward, staying low, waiting for my moment. He had no idea I was there. As soon as he turned his back, I rushed in, swinging for his legs. But the second my hit connected, his head snapped towards me, and he swung down hard, the ground shattering where I'd just been standing. But I teleported back out of the way. He wanted me dead, no question. I kept backing, teleporting from spot to spot, trying to throw him off. I knew I couldn't just trade hits. If I wanted to take down something this strong, I'd have to get creative. Teleporting around, I noticed something. His size worked against him. His stride, while powerful, was slower than normal. If I could time it right, hit his legs mid-run, I might be able to knock him over. I kept moving, waiting, until finally, he roared and charged full speed straight at me. I knew this was it. I teleported right to his feet and swung with everything I had. The hit connected perfectly. I saw him buckle. His movement carried him forward until he crashed onto the ground. Before I could even breathe, his entire body turned into a puff of smoke, and sitting in the dirt was a brand new capture cube. I stood there for a second, staring at the capture cube in my hand, still catching my breath. This thing was mine now. Super proud, I shoved it into my inventory and started walking back towards the waterfall. By the time I made it out of the forest, the sun was just starting to rise. When I finally made it back, the guard looked at me like he'd seen a ghost.
You're alive? I thought for sure you'd be dead by now.
I gave a small laugh, but something felt off. It was quiet, too quiet. I looked around and no one else was here. Where is everyone? The guard's expression changed, almost like he didn't want to say it.
You're the only one who made it out. Everyone else died.
I didn't know how to feel. Part of me was sad, but then he said something that captured my attention.
I guess that means you automatically win. You've been ranked up to A tier.
Before I could even process it, I saw it happen. The new capture cube in my inventory changed, switching to an A tier capture cube. I couldn't help but smile.
Congratulations.
Without another word, I turned and started walking towards my brand new village. A fresh start, a higher rank, and one step closer to getting my pig back. As I walked in, the first thing I noticed was how massive this place was. It was bigger than anything I'd seen so far. There were huge floating castles and islands suspended in the air like it was nothing. Monsters roamed freely, some I'd never seen before, and these weird living cloud things just floated by like it was nothing. This place was beautiful, and for a second, I just stood there, realizing I'd actually made it here. I couldn't help but smile. I'd made it all the way from the F tier village to here. Just one more rank and I'd officially be in the S tier village. I was so close. But if I wanted to do that, first, I needed to get my pig back. That thing was by far my strongest monster. Without it, I didn't stand a chance. So I wandered through the streets, taking in every bit of this new village until I came across a building that immediately caught my eye. I stepped inside and saw the same store I saw from the C tier village before.
Welcome. First time here?
Yeah, what is this place?
This is the Monster Mutation store.
Those words hit me instantly, and I remembered, back in C tier. So, is it the same as before?
Exactly the same. Capture 6 different monsters, bring me 5 of them, and I can mutate your final one, all the way to S tier.
My mind started racing. This was it. If I could capture 3 more monsters, I'd have enough to actually rank up. I'd finally be able to reach S tier, the top of monster civilization. And then, I'd finally be able to take back what's mine. Just then, it hit me. The perfect plan. If I wanted 3 more monsters fast, there was only one way to do it, and I knew exactly who I had to find. Juba. I walked right up to him. No hesitation. I'm back, and this time, I'm the one who wants revenge.
What? How did you even manage to get here so fast?
That doesn't matter. I locked eyes with him. Monster battle. Best of 3. Winner takes all. He paused, as if he was considering it.
You probably don't even have anything worth fighting for.
That's when I smirked. I reached into my inventory and pulled out my new capture cube. How about this? My first boss. His eyes widened, just enough for me to know that he was interested.
Alright, sure, let's do it.
Without another word, we headed straight for the monster battle arena. This was it. My shot at revenge, and maybe my shot at S tier. As we walked in, the guard at the front nodded and wished me luck. I barely acknowledged him. My focus locked straight ahead as I made my way into the arena. The intercom crackled to life, introducing the fight, explaining how it would work. There were 3 rounds. Best of 3 wins, and the winner takes home all of the other person's monsters. I couldn't help but grin. This was it. The moment that could end it all. If I win here, I could finally accomplish my dream, retire in S tier, and live the rest of my life in luxury. But then, the intercom came back on, and dropped something I wasn't ready for.
Since Gorf only has 3 monsters, if he loses this battle, he'll lose everything, and as a result, be sent all the way back to F tier.
My stomach dropped. I hadn't even thought about that. Suddenly, this wasn't just a big fight. This was life or death. I can't go back there. I took a deep breath, preparing myself. The stakes just went up, and I need to lock in. Jubo's obviously gonna lead with his strongest monster, but that's exactly why I won't. Starting with my best would just make the later rounds hard. If I send out something weaker first, I can force him to burn through his power early. Then, in the next fights, I'll sweep through whatever leftovers he has. So, for round 1, I sent out the mutant zombie. Strong enough to hold its own, but still the weakest out of my 3. Across the arena, Jubo smirked, tossing his capture cube down, spawning in a giant wither boss. And that's when I knew this fight was gonna be harder than I thought. The fight started, and across from me, Jubo's monster started charging at me. There was practically nothing I could do. I tried to swing to get any hit I could, but he was just floating above me, out of reach. There's nothing I can do. But before I could react, he slammed down on top of me, and in one hit, I was out. We respawned, and Juba was dying laughing.
You're good. I'm gonna win this so easily, and trust me, I'm gonna savor every second, sending you back to F tier just like you did to me.
It stung hearing that, but I knew I still had 2 more rounds. I could still win. Next round, I'm going all in. The next round started and I was done playing it safe. I spawned in my giant robot boss. Its heavy footsteps shook the entire arena. Across from me, Jubo spawned in a hoglin? A regular puny hoglin. I almost laughed. Jubo started panicking instantly, backing up and looking around for an escape, but we both knew there wasn't one. I took my time walking forward slow, letting him feel every step, and then in one clean slam, it was over in a single hit. Just like I had planned, saving my boss for later was the right call. Now it was 1-1. One more final round decided everything. Winner takes all. I only had my Enderman left, but I wasn't worried. My Enderman was good, fast, and unpredictable. I was sure it could handle whatever he was about to throw at me. The intercom counted us down.
3, 2, 1.
Then we spawned in, and instantly, my stomach sank. Across the arena, I saw it. My pig. The same pig I'd spent all this time training, making stronger and deadlier. I had to lock in. I knew what it was capable of, and I know I can't give a single open. He was already charging the laser. That familiar whine building up. I tensed, and the moment he fired, I teleported out of the way just in time. I know that cooldown better than anyone. This is my chance. I teleported across the arena and started comboing him, hit after hit. His stubby little arms couldn't touch me up close. My Enderman's arms were just too long for him. This is where I'd do the most damage. He was charging up again. I could see it. I teleported to the right, dodging it cleanly, giving me another window for more hits. I could feel the fight slightly tilting in my favor. This pig's tough, but I know it better than anyone. This fight could be over any second. I kept the pressure on until suddenly I realized I might have gotten carried away. Right in my face, the laser was charged up and I was too late. He fired. I tried to teleport out of the way, but it grazed me, almost dealing my entire health in one shot. I teleported all the way to the other side of the arena, heart racing. If he lands one more laser or even a simple combo, I'd be done for. But there's no way I'm letting him win like this. Using my own pick against me just to send me back to F tier, just like I did to him at the start. No, I've come too far to lose here. One lucky shot isn't enough to take me out. I still have a chance. I'd been standing there thinking for too long, and suddenly the pig's laser was charged again and flying right at me. I teleported out of the way safely to the side. I knew he was on cooldown, so I dove straight back into the fight, hitting him over and over again. His stubby little arms couldn't touch me. I kept swinging, convinced that any second now he'd drop and this battle would be over, but he wouldn't die. Hit after hit, nothing. And that's when I saw it. He was charging the laser again. My heart skipped, but I couldn't stop. I just kept hammering away, praying he'd go down before he fired. The whine got louder and louder, and then just before it went off, I slammed down one last time, finishing him off. The pig burst into smoke, and in a blink of an eye, we were both back into our bodies. I looked down, and there they were. 6 brand new capture cubes sitting in my inventory. I did it. The intercom crackled to life, congratulating me for winning the monster battle. My chest was still heavy. I couldn't believe it. Across the arena, Jubo was losing it, pacing back and forth like he couldn't believe what just happened. I walked over trying to be civil, telling him it was a close fight, but he cut me off.
This isn't over. I'll do whatever it takes to battle you again and send you back to F tier where you belong.
I didn't say much. I just let him think that. But deep down, I knew my journey in Monster Civilization was over. I left the arena heading straight to the A tier village, specifically the monster mutation shop. I walked in and handed over 5 new capture cubes and then set my pig down. He took them without a word, worked for a moment, and then handed me back my pig. My heart skipped when I saw the text flash across my hotbar. S tier capture cube. I just stood there for a second, letting it sink in. Stepping outside, I made my way to the S tier village for the first time. It was unreal. I couldn't help but think about how poetic it was. The same pig I got back in the F tier village had carried me all the way here. The streets were lined with monsters unlike anything I had ever seen. Each one bigger, cooler, and stronger than the last. For the first time in a long time, I realized I could relax. A guard eventually escorted me to my new house, and just as the sun dipped over the skyline, I stood outside, taking it all in. I had finally done it. I made it to S tier and I could finally rest. This was the end of my story in Monster Civilization. If you made it this far in the video, that means you're one of my most loyal fans. And I have something special just for you. Me and 2 other Civilization YouTubers have teamed up to make a community Discord for all of our fans. If you want a chance to talk to me or even be included in a future video, come join the Discord. But make sure you join soon, because for a very short amount of time, you can claim your OG ticket, saying you were one of my first fans. The link to join is in the description and a pinned comment. I hope I see you guys there.